guys, it's Amanda and Barron, and we are back again with Kicking Cancer Cares on KSLM Radio, 104.3 FM and 1220 AM. Our sponsor for this second half is Marianne McNally. She is a residential real estate specialist with Next Home Realty Connection. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or just really not sure where to start, she's definitely your go-to girl. Her number is 503-409-4389. And I know we gave an update last episode, and she is going through a difficult time, but she still really enjoys and loves what she does for work. It helps her keep distracted, and it's her passion. So don't hesitate to call her just because she's going through a rough time.
Yeah. She's in her third battle too.
Yes. Brenda's just like Brenda. Yeah.
And hers has gone from the breast to the bones, and now it's inside the liver. So the 28th Go team is Marianne McNally.
Okay, yes.
And that will start October the 1st, and I will announce more as that gets closer.
Okay.
But we decided another person for the second half.
Bum, bum, bum.
I'm actually in front of the camera.
You're in front of the camera now.
Microphone, okay, we'll do this. Let's do this.
Well, I wanted Ashlie to kind of give you her perspective on how she and I met.
Yeah.
I have referenced a guy named Chris Fondrick.
Mm-hmm.
When I actually had something that was going someplace, Chris was just a wealth of inspiration for me. He said, "You have an idea. You need to be a nonprofit, and I will be part of your board. But you got to make this a nonprofit."
Right.
So he gave me a kick in the butt when I needed it.
Yep.
And that would have been late 2018. He was on our board for about a year and a half. One really amazing thing that Chris did, which would have been early 2019, is back then we had a Facebook page. It was called Help Team Brenda with the Facebook page. When we incorporated, the state knows us as We Are the Solution, but we kept calling ourselves Kicking Cancer.
Right.
And he's like, we've got too many messages. And he says a whole lot easier to rebrand early than later.
Correct.
And it was such a Chris thing. He says, I know this is going to be hard because you started this for your sister.
Right.
But you got to get rid of that Help Team Brenda name.
Yeah. And
so he says, just rip the Band-Aid off now. And we did. And we got rid of the Help Team Brenda stuff. We got rid of We Are the Solution. We got a DBA for the company. And we began calling ourselves Kicking Cancer.
Yep.
And that was what Chris did.
Okay.
Because Chris shifted the organization and how it was functioning.
Right.
There is an award that has been created, which Jackie won.
Yes. Yes, she did.
And it's called the Chris Fondrick Award.
I love it.
And it's created because if somebody can help this propel forward, well, when I took the idea for a radio show to Jackie, and she thought it was a good idea, and you and I did a lot of work to figure it out, but then I said, it's got to go to podcast, Jackie.
Yes.
And Jackie helped us get the podcast figured out. So Jackie was the first winner of the Chris Fondrick Award.
That's cool.
I would like to introduce you to the second winner.
Whoop, whoop. Hey, Ashlie.
This is like a way ahead announcement, but Chris and I have talked, and adding YouTube is exponentially grown.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you could tell us the analytics better, but I would say 8 to 10 times more people watch and listen.
And it just keeps increasing and increasing every time that we have more episodes out.
Yeah, we're up to 45 followers. So again, if you're listening, go to YouTube, put in Kicking Cancer Productions, and then subscribe. So you're going to follow our episodes. But Chris frequented this little diner downtown Salem, and he said, Barron, you need to meet somebody.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So tell me what exactly happened. How did that all transpire?
Well, Chris had mentioned that I needed to meet you. I didn't really understand what, but I was trying to network at the time, partially for the restaurant to, get us out there a little bit more. But
will you come closer to the microphone?
Once I finally met you, I understood why he wanted me to meet you, because there's just from
you're
him,
like, go away.
Well, just from he's so awesome. He always comes in with his family, just so awesome. He got to know me a little bit, and I told him, what I do on social media. At the time, I was just kind of playing around. It was during COVID. everybody's on TikTok, making TikTok videos and things like that. I kind of had my own little business going on at the time. So I was familiar with social media. And I know that's why he had us link up, because he started seeing the things that I was doing, even though
And that was a year ago.
Yeah, I kind of hid those things now because it's just like you're refiguring yourself out as COVID's going on, like a lot of people did, awakening and just learning new things, and your mind is just expanding so much more, because what were we doing? Just sitting in there self-reflecting in our house in lockdown. So I learned a lot of things, and I shared that with Chris, and then that's why he's like, we need to talk. We need to meet. Yeah.
So I remember going in, and it would have been about this time last year, and so I had some flyers for that golf tour we were doing for Jason. And you put that up at the restaurant. She put it in the window. You took some of our little trifolds, put them at their counter, so when they paid for their food. So she started getting the word out about who we were as an organization. And then you and I talked more and more. But it would have been probably early this year that you began sharing some of your own health issues with me. How did that all inspire you to actually get away from your comfort zone and get behind a microphone?
I know, right? Well, the first thing for me was my uncle Mark. He has lymphatic cancer. He's still battling it right now. So you had a product called Juice Plus that you were telling me about, which
I introduced you to Danny Warren.
Yeah, so I kind of was getting engaged with that. One of the very first episodes we did, I should say the second episode we did with Matt Miller and his grandmother, Betty.
Yes.
That was huge for me because my grandmother partially passed from breast cancer. She had a lot of other things going on, but she was a survivor 2 times over of breast cancer. So I never really grieved the loss of her, let alone my grandfather. And this is on my dad's side. So that just triggered so many emotions into me as to this is why you're meant to be doing this. As I have goosebumps, it's just something bigger than you. It's not like you're just on TikTok as an influencer talking about nothing.
Right.
Just something way bigger than myself contributing. And I enjoy doing this already, even though it is a very time consuming. And my kids will be like, Mom, are you done yet on the computer? It's so much bigger than us. And having conversations with family members, especially my father, that's his mother that passed as my grandmother. He's like, people don't want to talk about cancer. It emotionally triggers you to the ones that you've already lost from it.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm reminding him, we do need to talk about it because there's so many people affected by it and they don't know the resources that are out there. You think you're just alone in it, but you're not. And then the grief side of it, a lot of people don't know how to deal with that. You just are like, I'm going to shut these feelings off. Yes, it's there, but there's so many things that need to be said and heard, in this subject in general.
Absolutely.
It's huge.
And I think you bringing the YouTube channel up is allowing those resources to be available to people, to letting them know, like, hey, you're not alone, and we are here, and these are normal feelings, and it's okay to feel like this, and here's how you can... Yes.
Being human. It's okay to cry. It's okay to feel that grief. It's okay to feel alone, but you're not.
Yeah.
There's these resources out there.
Well,
and I'm glad we can do this.
And I'm thinking about... the episode we did with Matt Miller, which was almost 3 months ago now, we could have done that episode with our radio show just fine. But, and no one would have seen all 4 of us wearing pink. But they saw us all with the YouTube channel, and we probably still would have asked Matt to sing that song. But now they're actually watching Matt sing that song, right? It adds a different component. And I told Ashlie, I said, who wants to watch us sit in a studio and record? And she goes, you would be surprised.
I love me some podcasts on YouTube. Oh, yes, I do.
It brings it alive. It makes it more real. And I think it tugs on more of the emotional side. Like, these are real people with their real emotions, and it's real life. And it doesn't I don't think emotions like that get talked about very often. I'm somebody that likes to tuck my emotions in and just move on and deal with them in silence. But sometimes that's not always healthy, and that's not always the best way. And so I love what we've created, the three of us together with this.
Definitely.
Well, the one thing I love, and I joked early on with Ashlie that she was a Facebook stalker. And that's maybe not the right term, but she's
so many people are going to see this and be like, she is. I'm just an investigator.
She's a really good private investigator. I like that. But think about how many shows we've done, and the one that comes to mind for me is when we had we had John and Ashlie call in from Kentucky.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're talking about these things that they did, and I didn't have any of those pictures.
Right.
But when I went to YouTube, I'm like, where in the world did you find those pictures? She's a good private investigator.
She is.
That sounds better than stalker.
Right.
Fair enough.
And the whole thing is too, like, as long as you give me their name and their last name, like, I'll do the digging for you, because I already know how much you do on top of it, you know? So I'm just sitting there, just going down the wormhole of finding all these pictures. That was one of the biggest ones as well, aside from Matt Miller with his grandmother Betty. Ozzy, just in that you see two different spectrums: a woman who has lived her life and a child that hasn't even gotten to start to live theirs.
Yeah.
So cancer touches everyone. Everyone.
Everybody.
And that's when you start to see, like, it really is affecting everyone. Everyone.
If we had the YouTube as Ozzy was going through that journey, there was
That was hard for me to do, because the
I-
amount of pictures that I'm seeing from when he was healthy, you know, at the beginning of it to the very end, it's a lot to absorb.
It is.
Well, there was
It's a lot.
There was one episode, and I right at the end I had given this update, and John had sent it to me, so I'm just reading it, and it got really hard to read at the end. And I'm sure you remember that I couldn't pull myself together.
Yeah.
I'm editing and crying, and my daughters are walking in.
And Amanda
they're like,
goes,
"Mom, why are you crying?" And I'm telling them the stories. Yeah.
Well, I remember the very end of that one, because we have to say that together, you know, as the movie continues. And Amanda goes, "Come with me."
Right.
But if we could have shown the emotion on the YouTube, right? So she just adds so much to that. Well, what I find also interesting is I'm talking to her about cannabis. And I'm like, well, you know, we should bring this up. And so she came on as a guest. That was actually April the 8th that she was a guest. That was podcast 189 and 190.
Okay.
Today is podcast 223 and 224.
All right.
Except after she's on the show, that's when she says, you know, we should do a YouTube channel. Well, we didn't waste time, because April the 28th, 3 weeks later, was our very first YouTube show.
And when I thought you didn't let grass grow.
She doesn't
She
either.
did not.
I'm on it. Usually, like, with Mike from Oddmos, I'm usually a day or two early. He'll be like, "Oh, well, we were supposed to meet. Not yet." Like, I'm always, at least I'm not a day late and $1 short. Yeah. I'm always on it.
Well, she mentioned the work, and I just want to just publicly thank you for the work that you do after the show. I have a new appreciation for television shows and movies.
Oh, man.
Yes.
You know, because I do a lot of research beforehand.
Yes.
And I enjoy that part of it. I don't understand the second part of it, so I'm glad that she does.
Yeah.
But I know how much work that I do to get ready for a show, and I know how much work that she does to edit and get it ready to go to YouTube.
Well, just alone, she comes in here and sets up a half hour early and gets the cameras up, the lights up, and then you're here for the whole thing. And then you stay afterwards and you get the audio and everything. And then I can only imagine how long it takes for the editing and the cutting and the putting the pictures up. So I really appreciate
I'm just glad there's no more technical issues at the moment.
Yes.
Well, what I do know is that we had done about 3 or 4 shows, and she and I are talking about just how cumbersome it was. And so we sat down together. I said, what do you need? What do you need to do your job?
Yes.
And so she found this wonderful program, and I said, great, we've got money in the Kicking Cancer budget, and we use it part of our education program.
Yeah.
So I said, here's the card, here's the credit card, go buy that program.
Yep.
So we got her a program to edit better. And then she's like, this is more like gaming than it is Microsoft, right?
Right.
Computers work differently.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all about memory.
It's all
about the memory.
Bottom line is her
Yeah.
computer didn't have enough memory.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had a board meeting in July, and I looked at the entire board. I said, we have to give Ashlie the tools to do her job.
Absolutely.
So we got her a new computer.
Awesome.
a computer.
Shout out to Matt Miller.
Thank you, Matt. Well, this is why I love our board, because Ashlie and done some research together, and we said, well, this is a really good computer. It matches all the things we need, and it's going to be roughly $1,000. And I had sent a message to the board, and they're like, well, they were fine with that cost, but let's discuss it at the board meeting. So we get to the board meeting, and someone says, well, maybe we can get that same computer for less expensive. Okay, fine.
And I'm all about saving money too.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
I mean, we work hard for the money we get for the organization. We want to be good stewards of that money, But here's Matt sitting across the table from me, and I'm watching him do something on his phone. He sent this message, and basically his message says, I have that computer at home. He says, what's the criteria? So I told him how much memory it needed, how many terabytes, blah, 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 all the stuff it needed. He says, I have that exact computer at home. It's collecting dust.
No way.
yeah.
So
And it works great. It's amazing.
So Matt
Saves so much time.
donated
Oh,
that
my
computer, and we just wrote him a check as an in-kind donation.
Yeah.
So again, thank you, Matt, because
Such a
it
cool
saved
dude.
the organization $1,000.
Yeah.
But it gave Ashlie exactly what she needs to. So
Wow.
she still spends time, but not as much time.
Not,
Right, yeah.
Not as
And I'm
much
not
time.
fighting with my computer crashing and losing
Oh,
whole
God,
episodes
that-
of 18 hours.
That would make me see red.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's been a few nights.
Well, we've done.
Walk away.
I had to.
If we don't count last week, we've actually done 12 episodes together. You did mention Matt. That was a pretty powerful episode for you.
It was.
What made that episode so powerful for you?
Just remembering why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And I'm big about, people being in your life that have passed, that you see little signs and little reminders. And that, as soon as he started singing Elvis, and my grandma was a big fan of Elvis, like that just did it for me.
It was the cherry on top.
It really was. As I'm turning around, bawling my eyes out, like, don't look at me.
There wasn't a dry eye in that room.
No, I remember handing you a Kleenex box, and then I handed Ashlie a Kleenex box.
Yes.
It was the reminder of why am I doing this?
Yeah.
Like, what is this? I'm just kind of going with the flow of things. Well, that's why.
Yes.
It was awesome.
That was the second episode. I think that's when you realize this is bigger than all of us, right?
That and Aussies.
Yeah.
The amount of pictures that I found, and like I said, I'm literally like sitting, rewatching it, and my daughters are just like, Mom,
you
and to
okay?
tell them, these different stories and how precious life is, and at any moment, anything could happen. It's so much bigger than us.
Yeah.
So much bigger than us.
Well, I'll tell you what made Ozzy's story super powerful, I think for Amanda, I know it did for me, is, excuse me, I met this young boy, and he had gone up to Seattle for the clinical. We'd done the GoTV event. We got the money. They got to Seattle for the clinical trial. The trial was working at the time. And we have our annual honoring evening, and Ozzy was there.
Yes.
And he was actually doing really well that time.
He seemed to be really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we had talked about how things did not look good for this little boy.
Right.
But you got to meet Ozzy, right?
That was super
Meet
cool.
Ozzy.
That was really cool.
And then that would have been like late January of last year. And then it was about a month and a half later that I get the message that the clinical trial wasn't working anymore. And he had to leave the trial, which means now you're back to no options. And I call our board of directors, and I said, this kid's not going to make it to his birthday, which was May. And I vividly remember exactly where I was at when I got that news. And another one you said that impacted you was Dee Dee Smith and the grieving, because I cry.
And so many
And
men are afraid to cry. It's like the whole thing of us. My generation, I'm an 80s baby. I remember my grandfather, like, he would only cry if it was somebody died in the family. Like, it was just, oh, you're crying. It's okay to show that emotion. You're human.
Yes.
You are human. It doesn't mean that you're any less manly. It doesn't, it's just...
I'm one of those people that
emotions
cries
are okay.
for all emotions.
You're not a big giant baby if you cry.
Right.
Like, it's okay.
Right. You're human.
Well, before you and I started working together, we did one of our honoring evenings, and I got up in front of the crowd, and it was a joke later, but our entire board was sitting at the same table, and they had bets on how soon before I started crying. Like, you guys are betting on how fast.
Rude.
That is funny, but
Someone's like,
man,
I got
it's
5
okay.
minutes, I got 7 minutes. He won't make it 10 minutes. You know.
And on that subject as well, like just with grief in general, like how it's been 12, 13 years almost that my grandma's been gone, but it feels like yesterday. And as Dee Dee was saying, grief is linear. Like it
Yes.
just continues. It doesn't go away. It doesn't stop. It might morph into something different. It might kind of fade out a little bit to the background, but it's always there.
Yeah.
There's always something that's going to remind you of it, that's going to trigger you of those memories and thoughts. So that one, even though that was our first one, looking back on it, that I keep reminding you, it's okay to get emotional on here. People want to feel real when it comes to anybody that's on the radio or on YouTube. They want real people.
They do. And these are tough conversations.
Oh, yeah.
They really are. But they're
you and I have had some
necessary.
hard conversations
Oh,
in here.
boy.
Yeah.
Last week with Miriam McNally and Brenda, that was a lot.
Yeah.
That was a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think the other thing, and we had 12 episodes, and I was trying to get you to pick out a couple of them. The other one that I thought was really powerful, because again, it was a pilot. Can we do this? Can we go? You and I have gone remote. We went to some knife show, right?
Yes.
We know how to do a remote radio show. Can we do a remote radio show with cameras?
Yes.
And we did.
We did.
We went into a place where you would poop here again.
Silver Falls Wellness.
Yeah.
Melissa and Casey, and that was so much fun.
It was.
That was so much fun. And
But there was something about that I think is a message that we want to keep hitting on. And
Yeah.
what was that for you? What was the message there?
the holistic side of things.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know,
Don't be
medicinally holistic. You know, that's the big taboo right now.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, don't say that. Yeah. So it's just reminding people that start with the holistic things first and, you know, see if those might change some factors in the way that your body's behaving. And of course, go to your doctor, get your checkups and things like that. But there are so many other resources.
There's options. You have
So
options.
many.
It's not just this is what your path.
Yeah.
There's many options. So explore those.
Yeah, especially like with and I forget what it was called, the therapy.
The colon hydrotherapy
There we
machine.
go.
Yeah.
Colon
Starting
hydrotherapy.
with ground A, you know, like ground zero. Like,
Yes.
what is the cause of this? So what goes in our mouth? So in with the bad, out with the bad. You
Yes,
know? So
yes.
our stomachs just.
Oh, yeah.
No one really realizes, like, you could solve so many issues.
With what you eat alone.
Seriously.
Well,
and just how you're taking care of your stomach.
Those ladies
Yes.
were so thrilled that you actually do get a free session. You'll have
I
to
know.
tell us what you
I
think
have
of
to
it.
figure out
Shame
when
on
I'm
you
gonna
for
do
not
that.
doing that already.
I'm excited.
Especially, I mean,
I've been
I guess
so busy, but I'm so excited.
I guess it was last minute that you were going to be on today, but you have to let us know how that goes.
I will.
I
I
almost
will.
want to do it just to clean myself
You should.
out
You
because
should.
it's one thing to have cancer and to treat it and go about all of that, but we can also prevent it too.
Well, that's why we do Juice Plus, is so we
Right.
don't get cancer.
There's
And, you know, what shifted it for me was the whole, I mean, it wouldn't take a whole lot to figure out what is this, right? It's colon, there's your part of your body, it's hydro, there's water. I'm like, that sounds really awful. Until they told the story about that big guy that didn't want to be there in the first place.
I mean, I've heard that you have things in you that have been in you for years, almost decades. Like if you've not cleansed yourself or done things like that, like you just have those toxins still in your body. So that's like, okay, red flag.
Yes.
Why am I really feeling like this? Why am I swollen? Why do I
Right.
have inflammation? Yeah.
Yes.
There's
Well,
so many things.
because we thought, let's try it out. It was really a pilot for us. And because she's doing a great job with the camera work, hopefully every 5 or 6 weeks we can find a location that makes sense
yeah,
and go there.
that'll be fun.
One thing I would love to do is do a show from inside on Mo's so you can actually see what the pizza is.
that's cool.
Yeah.
But can I
Might
request
make everybody
that
hungry.
all the people that we do, can they make that juice?
Oh, that was such good
Right?
juice.
I was
Oh
telling
my
him that we should do a
goodness.
whole episode on juicing because
Oh,
so
that
many
would be
people
cool.
have this idea of just stick a piece of fruit in a juicer. There's so much more to it.
Yes.
There's
And see,
so
I don't
much
know
more
what's all to it. I would love to recreate that juice they made. It was so phenomenal,
You know,
and
I'm
all of
sure
the
that
benefits.
if I reach out to Melissa and Casey, they might do another show, not hydro, but with the juicing part.
Yeah. The one you liked was half a grapefruit, 1 orange, and a half a cup of strawberries. That's it.
so good.
That's it. Yeah.
It really was. But the other thing that impressed me for you was you didn't want to do whole green stuff.
Oh God, no.
But that wasn't the grass taste.
No.
No,
was actually
because we're
really
so
good.
used to Jamba
Phenomenal.
Juice grass shots
Yes.
that ruined it for us. And we're like,
Yeah.
it's always going to taste like that if it's green. But
Yes.
now, just mixing certain things, you don't even taste it. It's just green.
Well,
Like, it's sweet.
I just want to go on record that we're now. This will be the 14th episode with a YouTube channel.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yes,
for stepping
thank you
up.
so much.
Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
You were a huge asset to our team.
I appreciate that. I'm just very humbled. I'm not one.
We had to get
take
you in front of the
compliments.
camera
I
to
don't
take that.
I'm like, I don't know. I'm just doing it, having
Well,
fun.
it took me 6 years to accept the fact to say thank you. But
Yeah. Taking compliments
I
is
didn't start
tricky.
this for me. I started
Ooh,
out
I
for
get-
Brenda, right? I started for Brenda.
Yeah.
But it's hard to say thank you, or your thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to say, I appreciate you.
We appreciate you being here.
Okay, I'm going to give a shout out to Marianne McNally, who is a residential real estate specialist with Next Home Realty Connection. So if you're looking to buy a home or sell a home, definitely give her a call. Even if you're not quite there, but you just have all the questions and you want to make sure that you're headed in the right direction, give her a call at 503-409-4389. And Ashlie, join us in on this. And we'll be back. Wait, whoa.
One more time. We're going to have Ashlie join us and you get all screwed up.
I think I've lost my train of thought. We'll be back next week
As the movement continues.
Woo! Wee!
I
lost it.
Where were you going?
I'm not sure. I panicked. I blacked out.